right. All right. Okay. Keep me in your thoughts. I'm going to try to play the buzzer game with this 7th grade today. I don't think it's going to go well. I don't think it's going to go well at all. What?
Buzzer game?
Yeah, not for you.
Wait till we're done with video. What's on the board?
How about you just wait and you'll find out. So.
Here now.
Okay. I will talk to you about what this is. Okay. Your reviews might look a little bit different in geometry. Okay, just because I think you would benefit from having a variety of materials. So your required practice is in Schoology. Okay, same thing as the review the other day. It's not graded on accuracy. So if you get like 12 out of 20, I'm not putting that in the grade book. Okay, but it would be wise to get as many right as you can. We'll talk about that later on. But there's other things I'm going to recommend you take a look at. Okay, just a couple of quick thoughts about the homework. Okay, I'm not worried about the first part. We have the protractor there. Okay, a comment yesterday, listening to some of you try to measure with the protractor, because a lot of you thought that one angle was 130, and it definitely was not. Just as a thought, if you really aren't sure where the protractor is going, I saw people do this, but probably should have reminded a lot of you. So if I'm going to measure this angle right here, you might want to extend the line before you put the protractor down. That way you can set the protractor down and then just read it. It does make a difference. That would be the difference between you saying it's 33 degrees versus, well, I think it's 35. So if you were struggling with that, which I know sounds silly because you're in 4th grade, you probably could do this stuff. If I know I'm going to measure this angle, I would strongly think about with your ruler, with your straight edge, extending the line, then taking the protractor. I hate this protractor. Setting it there, and then kind of doing your thing. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Yes?
Will you use points on the test for like 2 degrees off?
Yes. Yes, measurement matters. You cannot be 2 degrees off, because then I'm letting everything go at that point. If I let you be 2 degrees off, then they can be 2 degrees off under or over. That's 4 degrees it matters. Yes, you have to get it right. That's the way measurement works. Okay, imagine they're working on this big construction project. Like, who cares? 2 degrees. Bridge collapses. It's no good. But you can get it. Okay, but that might be where some of you faltered a little bit. Okay, maybe you extend the line, then you set it down, and then I feel like you should be able to measure the protractor. Okay, you got to have confidence. I thought everything else algebraically looked really good yesterday. Watching you work, thought you did a nice job with those questions. Okay, so I wasn't planning on going through much of anything here. Were there any questions up through 19? You can ask. But take a look. Anything up through 19, you're like, I need to see it, not sure. You can say no. Remember, when you say no, I'm assuming you're all good with everything. Okay?
Wait,
Yes?
for number 11, is it just naming the line? It's not like naming the segments? or-
There's so many ways for number 11. Like, ask Cole. Cole wrote down, how many did you write down?
29.
Okay, not sure if there's actually that many. Maybe. There's so many ways, but you can list the segments. You can actually list the angle. Okay, there's a lot. I just didn't put that one on there. I only wrote like 4 or 5.
I wrote like 4.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, number 20 was a little bit different. That was the only one where you actually had to look at a circle. You like that right there, right? Cherry pie, apple pie, pumpkin pie, cutie pie. You like that one? I was going to put you in there, Conlon, but I decided that might be weird. It wouldn't have been weird? Okay, maybe I'll fix it. We'll put it in there. Okay. Well, we didn't really officially talk about this. You're supposed to think to yourself, well, I don't know. I know there's 360 degrees in a circle. Okay, so I could divide this by 6, divide this by 8, 15 degrees more. That's the way I did it. That's not the only way to do it. Okay, cool. All right, so what I want you to do, I want you to put the packet away. You don't need your classwork anymore today. I want you to actually go to Schoology. I want to talk about the folder a smidge. So, let's talk about what's required and what's not. You're going to notice for this course, there's always going to be what's required and there's going to be some extra things. I wouldn't be surprised if I also gave you an exam and I said, hey, the review is optional. You're going into high school next year, most of you. Okay, your teachers aren't going to baby you. They're not going to tell you study this, study that. They're going to say, hey, here's what the test is on. But for now, I'm usually going to have a required assignment and then extra stuff. Can you go to today, Thursday the 4th? So a few things. I don't think I can make this any more clear. I wrote required. That is required. I don't want to see you working on that today during class unless we finish the review first. But that's your official have to do it, will help you for the review. However, you're going to notice that this particular class, there's a lot of specifics that I might need extra materials for. So there's a few things in here. There is a GIM kit. We're not going to play it as a class. If you feel like you need the extra practice, you have access to it. There's also a Quizlet. I'm not sure how much you use Quizlet in other classes. I don't really use it very much in Algebra 1 because we don't need to. This class is heavy on vocab. So that is a link to a Quizlet. You're welcome to it. Now that's for the whole chapter. What do you think you should do if you open that up and you see something we've never discussed? Probably ignore it because it's probably going to come up later. You know what we've discussed 1.1 to 1.4. I have all these extra practice worksheets and the reteachings. None of those things are required. However, don't kid yourself. You know when you know this stuff. And if you know it after the required review, if you can get the grade you want tomorrow just doing the required review, that's fine. But that's not going to be the case every time. And I have a lot of extra resources for you here. Okay? So this guy right here, required, should be getting it done later on. Okay? All the other stuff in the folder is optional. It's not a bad idea. But I also don't think you need to spend, 5 hours studying. I want to talk about the study guide. I'm going to give you a copy of this in just a moment. Okay, so I'm still going to give you this study guide. I find this more helpful than an algebra because, again, it's so heavy on terminology, postulates, exacts, okay, that we don't necessarily deal with in that class. This is something you never have to hand in, but it's how I would make a study guide if I were in your shoes. Okay, so I'm going to give it to you in just a second. We'll talk about it. It'll outline the structure of the exam, how many points, but really this terminology stuff. Okay, this, again, is not required. But if I was studying and I was trying to figure out how to learn how to study on my own, I would have made something like this when I was a student. So why don't you send somebody up, grab a copy of this, we'll talk a little bit about it. All right. Somebody, come on, don't wait.
Just one?
One for each person. One for each person.
Who knows? One. Uh-oh, you got that? Thank you.
Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. Too bad, cutie pie. I'm gonna fix that. Can I fix that for period 5? Is that allowed? Perfect. I thought I had it saved and I'm like, is this weird? I'm like, or is it perfect? That's what I thought.
Yours is pretty good, though.
I should have gone with my gut. That was my COVID picture. You like that one? Did you even do COVID if you didn't take a picture of yourself with really long hair that you didn't get cut? Okay. All right, so please take a look. So, again, part of the goal here is to transition you to high school, you 8th graders especially, obviously. This is how you'll ultimately have to study, but nobody will give this to you. When you get older, and I mean like might even be next year, they might say, hey, learn how to study. And this is how you make your own study guide. It's just a list of topics, important stuff, okay? And then I have the extra vocab sheets if you need them. Nobody's going to ask, did you do this, unless you bomb the first exam, okay? So this is not required, but probably a good idea. What are you going to run into on this exam? You should be looking up here, not at the iPad. Okay, and then we're going to do something together. 1.1 was all about nets, isometric drawings, and orthographic drawings. I think as a group, looking at your work, but also listening to you, I think you've made a lot of progress with this stuff on the right. That is my opinion. Hopefully that is how you feel, okay? I'm getting a solid yes from QT over there. Oh, the wink. Look at that. That's nice. Don't forget nets. Okay, remember the first day of the actual chapter, I had you drawing nets, and that was a little bit, Little note, and I'll say this probably one time tomorrow. When you're doing these things for on an actual exam for points, you need to use a straight edge. Sloppy. Okay, so be ready to use one. You can use mine tomorrow, but if I ask you to draw one of these down by hand, I would need you to do that, okay? 1.2, I thought the conversation was interesting. This was the section I told you it wasn't exciting, but it was important. Okay, so do you know what all of these things are? Okay, if you don't, that's something to think about. Okay, points, planes, I'm not going to read them all to you. Those are all going to pop up. Okay, naming intersections. A lot of this stuff comes up in the review. Naming planes, determining whether they're collinear or coplanar. So 1.2 was actually pretty heavy, but it's not exciting. You just got to know what they are. Okay, then you have some postulates. Okay, so if I were you, I would be thinking about filling this stuff in. We're not going to do it as a group. I'm going to see kind of if you want to on your own. But through any 2 points, there is exactly one blank. Don't say it out loud. I would be filling these in as a study tool, and then when I would say, okay, I know this stuff might come up tomorrow, it could save me some time. Okay, 1.3 was really more about measuring segments. Okay, knowing that you can find the distance between them. I would be mostly interested in midpoint and then some of this algebraic stuff. I know you can crush the algebra. I know firsthand. But do you know if this is the midpoint, you would set them equal to each other? Or what if I had the length of the whole thing? RT can be found by adding RS and ST together. Okay, we did the same thing yesterday, except instead of segments, what was it? Go ahead, say it louder. Angles. We did the same stuff yesterday, but angles. Okay, yesterday I thought you did a pretty good job. Okay, knowing how to measure with this thing was interesting, but I know you can get a little bit better at it. Okay, and the angle addition postulate, very much like the segment addition postulate. So if this whole thing is 180, this angle plus that angle is 180. So these are just kind of sample problems and terms you're going to run into. Okay, you'll notice attached to it, sometimes I'll include the vocab support. You might say, why didn't you do this in Algebra 1? We didn't really have a lot of vocab. It was mostly a lot of, hey, sit down and do this. That's the way algebra is. This is the way geometry is. Up to you, but again, no excuses. Okay, so add this to your list of optional stuff. The only required item is the Schoology practice. Your stuff is at your discretion. Okay, any questions? If you want the outline of the exam, I had it at the top. Okay, you'll also notice in geometry, this is good and bad, you're going to notice more multiple choice questions in this class than in algebra. It's good because the answer is on the page. It's bad because so are the distractors. And actually, some of you, multiple choice is like your kryptonite. Some of you is your strength. Okay, but you'll notice that as the course goes on. Okay? All right, cool. So, you might have some time to work on that. You might have some time to work on the Schoology practice. We are going to Kahoot those so that you can get yourself set up for it. I don't think you really need a lot of scratch paper. Maybe one piece of scratch paper at the most. Come on now. What? No, I didn't. I feel like I'm not supposed to. Just work it. For the first time ever. I believe that actually. You'll only need the scratch paper later on. You won't need it right away, but one piece is plenty. Now, I don't think this won't take the entire time. It's 30 questions. Most of the questions are very short. Okay, and then when the time is done, you can use the rest at your own discretion. But let's see how we do here.